So I want to welcome everybody to our first Entrepreneurship Advantage meeting for the year. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Today we're going to talk about resources for small businesses. There's so much going on. We figured you've had a lot of opportunities to learn about some of the federal resources and state resources. So we figured we'd go local. Also, we want to make some space this year for people to get to know each other a little bit better and do some networking. So we will do some breakout groups. So the meeting's recorded for participants to review later, and you can share it with any of your colleagues that you have. My name's Heidi Pickman. For those of you who don't know me, I am the VP of Programs and Policy for Cameo. We are going to ask you to keep your audio muted until you're talking. And I think I'm just going to dispense. I was thinking about this right before the meeting. I'm like, I think after 9 months of Zoom, we can probably get rid of this slide. The only thing I would like to say is that if you're viewing the screen, the slide deck and the gallery, you'll see between the two, there's two little bars. If you click and drag on that to the left or the right, you can make things go bigger, or you can make the slides or the people go bigger than smaller. That's something that people maybe don't know yet. We are recording. We'll send all registrants a link as soon as we can. We usually try to do it by the next business day. You'll receive a copy of the slides. There's not a ton of slides in here. Let's go to the next slide, please. Just want to let everybody know a couple of things that Cameo's doing.
Go to mommy first. Mommy.
Let's mute Carlo. Hi, Carlo.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's all right. We love that. We love that kids and dogs and pets are in our meetings as well. Tomorrow, Friday, we know it's Friday, but we have a train the trainer. If any of your staff need help with training on the California Relief Grant application, we're going to be doing some training on that tomorrow at 3. If Melissa, I think you can pop that registration link into chat, that would be great. And then we're also doing one on February 2nd. So she's got both of those in there. Tomorrow's at least the first half is going to be introductory. So if you've been doing this for a long time, just know that. The release opens February 2nd. We want to make sure that if you are doing some TA for people, helping them with the grant, that you have information that you need. And then we also are starting our Cdfi Essentials cohort on February 12th, which is a year-long cohort led by Susan Brown, our VP of Training, and she basically helps people develop a loan program and a loan policy manual. For news, it's not for, you don't have to be a Cdfi to join, but you do have to be a Cameo member. And registration is now open, and we also have on our website, we keep the coronavirus resources page up to date that has the latest PPP guidance and all things like that. And you can find that on our website. So with that, that we'll dispense with the Cameo stuff. I'd like to introduce Frank Stokes, who is at the Best Mobile Accelerator, and he's on our steering committee, and he's going to tell you a little bit about EA, and then we'll do some networking.
Well, thanks very much, Heidi. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today. And we're going to, today what we're going to do is we'll have some quick introductions, and then that'll be followed by the what Heidi mentioned was a networking session that allows us to connect with one another. And after that, we'll invite Roberto Martinez, and he's going to speak about LA Optimized and how we can interact with LA Optimized and get our clients involved. And he'll also talk about Google resources for small businesses. I'm really excited about that. And Lastly, we'll wrap up with a quick overview of PPP lenders here in local Southern Cal, and so that you or your clients know where to apply. And we'd like to, next what we'd like to do here is introduction. So in the chat, tell us who you are by entering your name, your role in the organization, and that's always helpful because we're always happy to have new participants here, and we want to make you feel welcome, and we want to get to know you. So do share that. And of course, Roberto Martinez, our guest, he's a Google coach. And so this is important for us to take this time, and we really appreciate that. So,
and Frank, I just want to make one important introduction here.
Okay.
Is a Cameo staff member that is going to be joining us, Mega. If you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, she's going to be working with Entrepreneurship Advantage, and she's based in Southern California. So Mega, you want to just say hi?
Hi, everyone. Yes, it's a pleasure to meet you. You will probably see me and one of my dogs popping in every single meeting. One of them is sitting on my lap. But I'm right here in LA, in Playa Vista, right across the Google building. So if you ever need, to say hi or socially distance to wave, I am here for you, and I'm here to support everyone. So I'm so glad to be part of the team.
Welcome. Thank you. Thanks, Mega. All right, so before we start our networking, we just want to give you some context about our meeting today. And Entrepreneurship Advantage, we call EA, it's a collaborative of small business providers and entrepreneurs established to strengthen small business growth in Los Angeles County by connecting human, technical, and capital resources. Specifically, we have our virtual meetups to keep our ecosystem connected and to share best practices, strategies, and challenges, especially during COVID-19, at a time where it's really hard to stay connected. Prior to the pandemic, we were meeting face-to-face, and we certainly miss this, but this is the next best thing. So we hope that the opportunity to network will help you discover new resources, strategies, and develop new collaborative partnerships. So I'm going to pass this off back to you, Heidi, and you can discuss the networking.
Oh, my video is up.
Uh-oh.
My video is up for. Oh, for some reason my video isn't working. I apologize, everybody. It just
Okay.
That's weird. So we are going to go into breakout groups. Melissa's going to hit the magic button when I say we have 32 people. So let's do groups of 4. And now let's do groups of 3. Let's do groups of 3. And I think that Melissa and I don't count. So let's do groups of 3. And she's going to hit the magic button. It's like the Harry Potter key. What is that? The key. I forgot the key thing that you touch and that everybody goes into a different place. And you'll see a
Port
button.
key.
Port key. Thank you. And you'll go into there'll be a join button, go into the networking room. We're going to give you somewhere between 8 and 9 minutes. We'll give you a 1-minute warning to wrap up. Introduce yourself. Hopefully you'll meet someone that you don't know already. Introduce yourself and talk about some project or program that you're really excited about that your organization's doing. I know you guys are all doing some great work. And when we come back, we'll do a little bit of a share, and then we'll switch you guys all up and give you an opportunity to go do that all over again. So Melissa, on 3, 2, 1, everybody go to your special place.
One out there. But
Oh
yeah,
my goodness, that was too short.
Yeah, pardon?
That was too short.
Oh, I know. That
Breakouts are, they're always too short. Well, hopefully, and if you could just exchange contact information with somebody, and you can feel free to reach out, email, and have a longer conversation with them. So now that was like the excitement and the positive. Anybody want to share what they talked about in their group? Let's get from maybe a couple of people. And I'm gonna be sort of biased, and since I was in a group, and call on Brent to start us off.
Oh, well, okay, great. Well, I'm glad to say that, we had 3 people in our group, and I think maybe one of the common things was the engagement level of everybody in terms of the people on this call, our willingness and openness to collaborate, our willingness and understanding that we all need to work together. That there's great programs out there that are supplying, some funding for people. But at the end of the day, it's this ecosystem that we're trying to create that's going to really make a difference. There's just not enough money being provided by states and municipalities. We got to get all of us more energy, more resources, and excitement to really move the needle for as many of the people who are struggling as possible.
Thanks,
So I
Brent.
took that away from our room.
Yeah,
You
thanks.
wanted,
And
Heidi?
yeah, I would say I would say you captured it perfectly. Anybody else, just go ahead, either raise your hand on the, or
I'll share.
Star. Hi, Star. How are you? Good to see you, quote unquote.
Good. How to see you too. To see you.
Go for it.
Were you asking me to share?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I missed that. We kind of introduced ourselves, and then we were talking about, what our centers do, and found some synergy with Hassan. He's going to do a food program and wants to, down the road, hopefully have a community kitchen. And we did it like that with a local commercial kitchen. So we're going to talk more about how we could work together.
Awesome. Love it. That's exactly what this is all about. Sounds great. We'll take one more share.
I'll share. This is Anna Marie.
Hi, Anna Marie.
Hi. So Lindsay and I were paired in the same room, which was
Oh,
great.
no.
So obviously we've known each other for a while, but it was actually a nice opportunity to catch up. And we both learned. So I'm actually running our programming on the West Coast, and we are going to be offering our program throughout all of California this year. And I learned that Lindsay is also working with all of California markets. So I'm excited about the synergy there and continuing the collaboration now at a state level.
Awesome.
That's
Awesome.
great.
That's fantastic. It looks like my video keeps going in and out. Sorry about that, everybody. Melissa, we've got your weird view. We've got the presenter view on, just so you know. That's okay. So we are going to go into another breakout, do another round. If you don't know the person, obviously introduce yourself. And here, this is really be good for, if someone could volunteer to take a few notes and email them to, let's have you email them to Mega after this, and she'll pop her name into chat when we reconvene. They could just be bullets, but what are some gaps or needs for your clients that aren't being addressed? And, maybe we can get some kind of big picture, maybe there's some commonalities and stuff, and this would be useful for Cameo to know as we look for funding, do programming, et cetera, et cetera. So on 3, 2, 1, we'll give you another 8 minutes. Melissa, send us to our special breakout.
Hey, we might not have time for 8 minutes, but
okay, let's do 6 minutes then. Make it 6 minutes. Actually, megahits.org, don't forget. Gonna let somebody else go though. Let's somebody who maybe is new to the group. Do you want to volunteer to share?
Lindsay, have the baby share.
Oh yeah, the baby. Show us.
Baby's very new to the group.
Anybody want to share? Let's see. I happen to know, and I don't know if he's still on the call. Jay Diallo. I think this is your first a
Yeah,
meeting
I knew you were
with us.
going to call
Ha
me.
ha ha! Because just so you know, I might be a few minutes late to our call after this. Jay, do you want to share what you guys talked about?
Yeah, Heidi, thank you very much for inviting me. Appreciate it. I was telling Star and that, you know, I may be new to this group, but I kind of know a lot of the organizations that they've been working with. Some of them might not recognize me, but they would probably know who I am until when I start speaking and introducing myself. Oh yeah, that's you. So anyway, so in our group, what we talked about mostly, it's just talking about some of the gaps that that we see in our communities in the Inland Empire and the LA area and San Diego. It's really the ability for some of our refugee communities, immigrants and refugee communities, to be able to have access to the resources that's available and also the capital that's available for them for the business. And what we talked about is sometimes because of the language barrier and also the culture differences, kind of negate a lot of those population in the fringe. So our first community capital, which is fairly new, but we're not new in the industry, it's really one of the focus is to be able to focus on the refugee population and immigrant population in our area and be able to provide them with really one of the important things that they need is the technical assistance side of it, because most of our loan products, everybody can attest to that, require some sort of business planning. And you know, either incorporate as an LLC or corporation or other, like even as simple as getting an EIN. Some of these folks, they don't even know how or where to go, and not realizing that EIN, you can get it online in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But when you don't have access to that resources and know about it, you think this is something that's very difficult to obtain. So that's what we talked about. Yeah.
Thanks. We'll
Thank
do
you.
some more sharing at the end, but I just learned that one of our guest speaker needs to go. So at a little bit before the top of the hour. So I want to turn it over to Frank for a quick introduction of Roberto, who's going to help us with one of the gaps we identified, which was the digital divide. So, Frank?
Okay. Thank you, Heidi, and thank everyone for participating in our networking. It was a lot of fun for me and very helpful. I'd like to introduce our guest for today, and that is Robert Martinez, the city's entrepreneur in residence. He brings more than 15 years of experience to the LA Optimized program, an initiative to help local small business recover by expanding their e-commerce capabilities and online presence, which is really, really important in this day. Now, as founder of Braven Agency, he uses digital marketing tools and strategies to scale diverse small businesses and organizations, bridging that digital divide for businesses owned or run by people of color. And as Google's digital coach for Greater LA, Martinez also enlists some of the city's most accomplished businesses, their minds, to build stronger industries across the city. So without further ado, let's hear from Mr. Robert Martinez. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for the time. What's the old expression? I'll be as brief as possible, no matter how long it takes. So with that, my name is Roberto Martinez. My name is Robert, for those of us who count well our R's. I'm very excited to be here today and presenting around what is LA Optimized and how we can help entrepreneurs in Los Angeles be able to access a tool that allows them to be able to sell online and get online pre and post COVID. This is not something that's going to be a flyover program. We're working really diligently to institutionalize this program and then hand it off to organizations such as yourselves so that you guys can continue the great work that we're hopefully going to build as a foundation through a collaborative effort of working together as a team. So I don't know, Melissa, if you want to give me access to the sharing attribute or if you want to go to the next slide. Okay, intro slide You'll have access to this presentation. No need to kind of dive in there. What we were saying is thank you very much. The heart of this program is 1,000 small businesses, low income. We're doing the triage process first and foremost. We're going to focus on the ones that need it the most. With that being said, we are also running programming on top of this particular program that allows anyone that applies to receive that program. So you might be asking, what is that program? We'll get to a little bit more slides, but we're being very aggressive, very ambitious. We already have over 500 applicants in the pipeline. We're servicing 250 this quarter alone. We can technically service up to 1,000 a quarter, but we're, as always, limited by financial resources. So that's our constraint, just like every other organization. Next slide, please. All right, so this is just us making the business case. You guys know this very well. I won't dwell on this particular piece too much. Suffice to say, we know our communities are hurting. It's something real to us. We hear it every day. We're frontliners to this, and this is something that's very near and dear to our hearts, very near and dear to the challenges that we face every day and we see. And for us, the big takeaway here is what kind of program not just provides amazing programming that a lot of you guys are doing already and provide microloans and micro grants that a lot of us here in this community are doing already, but how do we bridge that divide? And that's really what we centered around when we came to this type of program. Next slide, please. Again, you guys know this, our frontline minority communities, low business, low income are the ones suffering the most. We see that, we hear it, we live it for the most part for those individuals who still live in those communities, and we need to respond. And that response has to be more holistic as a result. Next slide, please. Again, just humanizing the stories. These are real human beings. We all know this. I'm not going to draw on this slide because you guys live this. Next slide. Okay, so what is the opportunity? Why does it matter? Why do I care, right? We all know the digital divide is real in our community. The digital divide exists in our communities of color, especially minority, but all small business. As you saw in the earlier slide, 36% of all small business do not have a website. What happens when you do get a website? What happens when you do bridge that divide? We see amazing things happening, earning potential, employee potential, growth potential. It's all there for us to be able to leverage and capture that opportunity that COVID, unfortunately, has presented to us. We know that COVID has exacerbated the digital divide even more, has disproportionately affected our communities of color, but it also provided us with an opportunity because now the attention is there to provide some tools and some trainings and some quote unquote assets that's going to be able to move the needle when it comes to these other things that might have been left on the shelf because we don't really think about it as long as the revenue's coming in. Now it's a necessity. Social distancing, the economy going down, the governor or the city officials closing and reopening and closing and reopening. So yes. Next slide, please. So what is LA Optimize? You're promising a lot. That's great to hear. What are you actually doing? Fantastic question. First and foremost, let's get these small businesses online, selling online through online business listings. There's 4 that we're going to focus on that are the primary drivers. Google My Business, obviously, I'm cross-promoting right now. Please ignore that. And that's really important for our businesses to be online. So it's Google, Facebook, Instagram, and Yelp. The second piece is an e-commerce audit. It's irregardless if you're a product or a service company, we're going to give you a health audit. Many of us have already seen this. What we're doing is figuring out how we can take an additional approach and seeing where your gaps are. So we have special, what's called digital customer success reps that have been trained and understand what to look for calls to action, anything and everything that has to do with optimizing their online presence for sales. The third piece is creation of that website. It's a 5-page website, either product or service. And if you have an existing website, it's optimizing that for sales. So really homing in on, it's great that you have a website, but is it optimized for sales? What does that even mean? Well, is there a call to action? Are you driving the prospective customer the right direction when it comes to the customer journey? Is it easy to take an action? How many clicks does it take? We all know that clicks are currency on a website. How many clicks does it take for you to take an action that drives to a sale? Let's make sure we hone in on that to make sure you're converting. And last but not least, which I think is the most amazing component, not to dwell on them, they all fit into each other and all play into each other, but it's the design piece. My counterpart at the city of Los Angeles, Layla Lee, has done an amazing job, and I can't stress this enough. She wrangled creative leaders in our LA community to come in and highly discount their rates to provide creative assets to our communities. What does this mean? Logo creation. This means imaging, photography. This means social media posts. All in all, we retail these services anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000 that we're providing per small business if they qualify. Again, the design component, we partner with Otis, we partner with the Art Institute, Cal Arts, all these amazing art institutions to come in, work with their community of artists to discount their rates. We'll provide them a stipend to be able to create these assets for our small business community so that when they do have a website, it's not just a website, but it actually tells us their mission and vision, and humanizing that presence across all these assets that we're creating. Next slide, please. And so what does the community look like? Obviously, right now, as we speak with the survey, the 500, we've seen about 65 are service-based, 35 are product-based as of January 20th. Our reach is pretty massive because the city is backing us up in this. We can reach out to 400,000 small businesses. We can project 10,000 as of right now if the current numbers stand. And if you guys help us get the word out, we're serving 250 communities and small businesses a given quarter. That's a big asterisk because we can serve a lot more if we find money under a rock. And what I mean I don't mean to be facetious there, but we are reaching out to tech partners. We are reaching out to foundational partners to increase the amount of money to help additional small businesses. And then last but not least, priority is always on low income, priority is always on engaging as many people. We have a pretty robust email list to engage our communities of color. Next slide, please. This is just making the case. You guys already know this. We partner with a lot of different data centers, Google Analytics, GoDaddy, Ventures, and they're providing some amazing data points on who is our community that we need to be helping to bridge that divide. Next slide, please. This is the part that I'm most excited about, and I think you guys will be most excited about, I would hope. And it's, we get to target and provide amazing programming, not just to those 1,000 that we're working with, but any and every small business entrepreneur that applies to the program. What does this mean? This means that we're working with Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Square, Shopify, MasterCard, Visa, Wix. I mean, you name it. We've reached out to over 50 tech business partners and told them, hey guys, we not only want your financial support, like Bernie Sanders, we're here once again asking for your financial support, but it's not enough for you to cut a check. What we want from you guys is also provide programming to help our community. So even if the small business is not one of the individuals who got the 4 services that we outlined, you can still provide access and training to these individuals. And so what we're going to do is we're going to run programming on top of the program year long and create these amazing events around it. We definitely want you guys to be part of that conversation when it comes to the nonprofit side. So what it would look like is you have targeted one-day events, and this is something that I got from, there's a couple people on this call. Obviously, Rocio absolutely love what she does, and Sean, where you do a one-day event just on one topic, right? So it's only going to be on CRM system for websites. The next quarter only be on business listing. The next quarter only be on domain names. The next quarter, and so it's very, very targeted to the need of the small business so they could demystify what it means to be digital. And we're doing a podcast, we're doing website presence. This is all to get the word out and provide programming, not just to the 1,000, but to any and every small business that needs this assistance. Next slide, please. And again, it's very targeted. We have certain partners that came up to us and said, we only want to target 100 that really care about POS systems. We can do that. It all depends on what the focus is. And if you guys come back to me and say, hey, Robert, we really want to do a standalone event, 2-day event on all the nonprofits in Southern California and how we help, we can create some kind of one-day summit around that with the foundational support of our tech partners or other partners. Next slide, please. This part is probably the one that I geek out on the most. Impact matrix. We all know, we all live this, we all breathe this. It's like, okay, it's great, Robert. Sounds fantastic, but doesn't move the needle. So we've created an amazing dashboard that helps us track some key indicators, website traffic. We care about that digital divide. We want to tell that story with numbers. Have you been able to increase website traffic? 2, revenue. It's great that you're doing all this song and dance. Is it moving the needle when it comes to sales? Customer retention, lifetime value. I'm not going to dwell on that. It's just marketing jargon that I absolutely love. Employee retention. Are we retaining the employees that they currently have, or are we losing them? And more importantly, are we hiring new talent? Can Los Angeles be the store of recovery for the rest of the nation? And that's really what this data dashboard that we've created does. It helps us tell that story. And within the first quarter, we'll have some numbers helping us out. Again, we couldn't do it. We have our own proprietary data system, but we couldn't do it without, you know, GoDaddy Ventures and Google. Next slide, please. Lots of opportunities here for us to partner together and create some programming together. If you guys feel necessary or would like to come in and help us. And so this is just a quick overview on that. Next slide, please. For those of us who do want to join and support, we're going to do a special VIP reception with a guest of honor. I'm not saying who the guest of honor is because they won't let me tell you who the guest of honor is, but you can assume, and I'll let you guys assume as you will, who that guest of honor would be. To thank you guys personally. Hopefully by then, we're looking at November of this year, the world will be a different place. We never know. We'll do it remotely if we need to do it remotely. Next slide, please. Again, Layla Lee, our community business manager for the mayor's office, and myself, we're here to help. Next slide, please. Please feel free to reach out to me. There's my Braven Agency email address. As some of us know, I do have my own marketing agency. You guys were mentioning a little bit earlier. Really passionate about helping the small business entrepreneur scale their companies by digitizing them and for giving them the assets. All right, guys, that is it for LA Optimize. I do have a lot there. Hopefully I was brief, and hopefully you guys are not snoring.
What a great program, Roberto. And even though I can't say my R's, I will try. I can't roll my R's. Do you have a marketing toolkit that you could share with us so that we can have, you know, our members, like,
that's if you're reading my mind. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Okay. Great. And there's a request to pop, oh, Mercedes, I didn't even see that, Mercedes. I've just written that down. So well, all our minds are thinking along the same lines. And if you could pop your email, or Melissa, go back one slide. There we go, Roberto Mar at Google.com.
Yeah, they were charging me for the teenage. They're like, all right, keep the teenage, I'll take the Mar.
And braveagency.com. So great. That's fantastic. Any other quick questions? We will share the slides because I think those statistics are really good and people can use those also as the arguments if you need to look for funding for your own organizations. As I mentioned earlier, one of our gaps that was identified, fortunately, Rocio got all their program alumni and identified the digital divide as one of the gaps and people needing some assistance there. So this is a great tool for that to help them. Any other quick questions for Roberto? I think you have to go. Is that right?
I do have 5 more minutes to walk through the Google piece if you guys want.
Okay. Yeah. Are there other cities? There's just one question. Are there other cities doing this in California? The LA.
Right. So if this stays within our intimate 40+ groups, we are talking to other cities because this is something that wants to be scaled statewide. But we are laser focused on making this a success for Los Angeles. So that's our primary, secondary, and tertiary goals. And then we could scope this out for the rest. Yeah. There's other cities that reached out to us already in Southern California and in NorCal to talk about it, and the governor's aware of the program as well. So
do we have enough time to do this justice, or should we there is a Google program? I
am a big believer that the perfect is the enemy of the good. Any information is good information while we still have a collective. And I could always come back.
Okay. We could do like a training on this maybe with Cameo or something.
Love to. So for those of us who are in this audience, I could just speak to this. If you want to go to the next slide. great. You guys have my information. Next slide. So really what this comes down to, for those individuals who want to be a Google partner, I know Sean's a Google partner, Rosie's a Google partner. We have a lot of Google partners here. If you're a nonprofit, it's an easy process. You go there, you apply, you list my name, and I'll get you approved within 48 hours. Now, let's say you're not a nonprofit, you're a for-profit, and you still want to partner with us, just shoot me an email. We'll partner together, and we'll get free content out to your community. And these trainings vary. Next slide, please. Vary in resources scope. We can provide you a bunch of access to all our Google teams. You could create group discussions. We do trainings through this. I know that some of the members here can speak to the power and the influence of this type of program. Next slide, please. You simply go there, you apply there. Next slide, please. So it's very straightforward, guys. We have training hours. You could talk about how to use this, the system. It's very, very intuitive. And again, I'll be more than happy to walk you guys through if you guys do want to become a partner. You guys have my email. Next slide, please. And we're in over 20 markets. So this program is highly invested in by leadership. So the CEO of Google has said it is their personal commitment to invest into communities of color across the United States. We went from 9 coaches, myself, one of the founding coaches, to 20 this past year. So they're really doubling down, and we have a coach. I am one of 2 coaches in California, but for all things Southern California, I'm your individual. If you want to run these workshops in NorCal and want someone more in the know in NorCal, feel free to reach out to him, or we could work together and I could find the right appropriate partner in NorCal. Next slide, please. There's a bunch of webinars. There's over 10 in English, 5 in Spanish. And we're working on other languages. So please, please, please reach out to us. Next slide, please. Reach out to me with my email address. If you guys want to get a test and want to see what these webinars look like, I have one this Saturday. You guys are all invited to attend. I'll Slack it and drop it in there on the chat function. And with that, thank you so much for having me today. I really appreciate you guys, and I really love what you guys are doing in our community. I think we're one and the same. We're cut from the same cloth, and I'm just very blessed to be working with you guys indirectly or directly.
Google ad credits for small businesses, Robert. Just put that in to help them use it. Just put that in the mix.
well, I'll turn this around on you guys. Google for Nonprofits gives away free grant to nonprofits.
We're using it. Yep.
And
not for educational institutions, though.
Yes. Sean, you're part of a larger institution that can afford it. Just to you, Sean. All right, guys. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Robert, very much, Roberto. We'll get the link to the Saturday's workshop and send it to you all. And if you have any questions for Robert, I think you can email him directly. Roberto, Robert.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'll answer to both, guys. I go, my mom calls me hijo de la, no, I'm joking. But Roberto, I answer to both. That's our event this Saturday. And I look forward to seeing you guys there. And if not, I look forward to working with you guys this new year. I'll see you guys soon.
Excellent. Thank you so much. You know, really interesting, because the digital divide and doing that is, I realized how that fits into the ecosystem. Cameo talks about 5 pieces of the ecosystem. It's coaching, which a lot of you guys do, capital, everybody understands. Connections to markets is the digital divide piece, and you know, enhancing those connections to markets. So fitting right into our little discussion of ecosystem and entrepreneurship advantage. Just thought I'd kind of use that opportunity for a little bit of ecosystem messaging there. So the other thing we wanted to let you know, if you guys are having small businesses that need capital and where to go for the PPP program, Payroll Protection Plan program, round 2 came out a couple of weeks ago. It goes through the end of March. They have expanded flexibility on the types of expenditures you can use. We thought we'd share some of the organizations in the LA area that are providing PPP loans, because it's just to make sure that you guys know about them. So I think, Melissa, we have those listed on the next slide. I'm not going to go through all of these. Some of them are only doing it for existing clients, some for new clients. We'll make sure you get this slide because it has a lot of good links for it and phone numbers and contact information. I also want to mention that some of the SBDCs, I specifically got this one from Orange County, and I think Melissa's going to show us a list of that Orange County's passing away. I just want to flag one issue, is that on the bottom, there are some fintech companies that are accepting PPP applications. I like for people to check to see if they're on the Small Business Borrowers Bill of Rights. Melissa, I don't know if you have that. If not, I'll that link up there that we could post into chat. I do know that Funding Circle is on them. I mean, while the PPP is a good product and a forgivable loan, which is basically a grant, you do have to go through some hoops to get forgiven. But some of the other, I will say some of the other fintech companies, I just want to, you know, make sure that the PPP product is good, but some of their other products are somewhat predatory and possibly, well, possibly predatory and not a good thing to get your clients into. I do know that if they have signed the Borrower's Bill of Rights, they've agreed to a whole bunch of responsible small business lending practices. If they have not, while the PPP loan might be a good product, if you're a small business who needs financing, where you're going to go back and find financing, you possibly will get the next product you might not be as good as the PPP. I just want to make sure that I just want to flag that issue for people that small, you know, the banks and things like that, they're all regulated. They have to, you know, there's certain criteria that they have to adhere to, and some of the fintech companies are not. So I just wanted to point that out. So we will make sure that you get these resources, the PPP resources. Swan Doe just made a note that says that they're doing PPP in LA County. I think we had that on the previous slide. And USC Credit Union is accepting PPP for new and existing clients. We'll make sure that's on the list as well. I think with that, I want to thank Roberto, who's not here, thank Melissa, who's been our gracious host, and Mega, our colleague, who you'll be hearing from, the steering committee. Thank you for all your hard work. Lindsay, Emma, Larry. I'm not sure I'm going to get everybody. Frank, Anna Marie. Who else am I missing here?
Emma and Rocio.
Emma and Rocio. I thought I said Emma. Emma and Rocio. There we go. I think, and if I miss it, so thank everybody. It's 12 o'clock, and Jay, I'm going to ask that our call is delayed 15 minutes and we log in 15 minutes. So thanks everyone. Looking forward to seeing you next month.
Bye everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for the resources.
Bye.